You won't argue with a clerk. You'll argue with a system. No face, no discretion. No, let me explain your situation. Just a silent decision that lands on you like a stamp. Denied. Flagged. Frozen. Ineligible. Rejected. And the most important detail is this: there's nobody there. Welcome to the new bureaucracy. Not paper, not offices, not queues, algorithms. This is how modern institutions scale. Banks, insurers, employers, platforms, even public services. They don't decide the old way anymore. They route you through a pipeline that turns your life into inputs, and your inputs into outcomes. A lot of people still think this is about AI being smart. It's not. It's about automation being cheap. Because when you can automate decisions, you can process millions of cases without hiring millions of people. And once the machine exists, it expands. Not because it's fair, because it's efficient. Now, let's make this real. You apply for a loan. You don't get a human reading your story. You get scored. A fraud model, a creditworthiness model, a risk threshold, a policy rule. And if you fall on the wrong side of the line, it's over. You apply for a job. You don't get an interview. You get filtered. Keywords, career gaps, location, past titles, a predicted fit score. And if the system doesn't like you, the recruiter never sees you. You try to buy insurance. You don't get a conversation. You get priced. A model looks at your signals and decides the premium, or decides you're not worth covering at all. This is algorithmic bureaucracy, a world where institutions don't need clerks to say no. They just need thresholds. And thresholds don't care. Here's the brutal part. In old bureaucracy, the pain was slow. In the new bureaucracy, the pain is instant. And it's often irreversible. Because automated systems don't just reject you. They also write your profile into other systems. A flag travels, a score follows, a risk label sticks, and you don't even know it happened. Now you might say, fine, I'll appeal. That's where the system gets clever. The appeal process often doesn't give you a human decision. It gives you a human-shaped interface on top of the machine. A form, a drop-down, a ticket. You submit the ticket and the system checks. Did you follow the steps? Did you upload the file? Did you match the template? And if you didn't, it auto-closes. This is the new loop. Machine rejects you. Machine tells you how to appeal. Machine evaluates your appeal. Machine closes your case. And when there is a human, they often don't have authority. They're there to operate the workflow, not to override it. They can tell you what the screen says. They can't change the screen. So you're not negotiating with a person. You're negotiating with a process. And processes are designed to minimize exceptions. Because exceptions are expensive. Now, why is this happening everywhere? 3 reasons. First, risk management. Institutions hate uncertainty. Models turn uncertainty into numbers. Numbers turn into policy. Second, scale. The world is larger, faster, more complex. Automated pipelines are the only way organizations can keep up. Third, accountability laundering. This is the part nobody likes to admit. When a human rejects you, there's responsibility. When a system rejects you, the responsibility dissolves into policy. The decision becomes nobody's fault. And that's convenient. Now there's a deeper shift happening. This isn't just automation. It's the merging of automation with prediction. The system doesn't only check rules, it predicts behavior. Will you default? Will you churn? Will you file a claim? Will you cause support costs? Will you be a trust and safety risk? So the bureaucracy stops being reactive. It becomes preemptive. It starts punishing you for what it thinks you might do. And when that happens, you don't just live under rules. You live under suspicion. Now here's where it becomes dangerous. Opacity. If you don't know why you were rejected, you can't fix it. If you don't know what signals triggered the model, you can't change your situation. If you don't know what data was used, you can't correct errors. And errors are common. Wrong address, stolen identity, merged profiles. Bad data from third parties, outdated information, false fraud flags, biased training patterns. The machine doesn't need to be perfect to dominate. It just needs to be cheaper than humans. And the cost of being wrong gets pushed onto you. That's the asymmetry. A false positive is cheap for the institution. It's devastating for the person. So the system becomes brutal by default, even without malicious intent. Now people keep asking, can we regulate this? Regulation can help, but it won't delete the machine. Because institutions don't want to go back to slow. They want the machine with a seatbelt. So what will happen is this: more logging, more documentation, more human oversight on paper. But the core dynamic stays. Automated pipelines become the new gatekeepers. And in practice, many organizations will create a two-tier system. If you're valuable, you get a human. If you're not, you get the machine. Premium support, priority review, manual exceptions for high spenders. For everyone else, forms. That's how algorithmic bureaucracy becomes class structure. Not through ideology, through operational design. So what's the practical takeaway? Stop thinking of modern institutions as people making decisions. Start thinking of them as systems enforcing thresholds. And then protect yourself like you would protect yourself from any system. Reduce single points of failure. Don't rely on one bank. Don't rely on one platform. Don't rely on one identity provider. Don't rely on one income stream. Because the machine can lock one door instantly. And if it's your only door, you're trapped. Second, build evidence. Keep receipts. Save confirmations. Archive communications. Document timelines. Because when the system denies reality, the only weapon you have is a record. Third, demand escalation paths, not help center loops. A real path to a human review when the outcome is significant. Even if it takes work, the goal is simple. Force the decision out of the black box. Because the only thing worse than a no is a no with no reason. And that is exactly what the new bureaucracy produces. So here's the prediction. As AI spreads, the world won't feel more free. It will feel more procedural, more automated, more rigid, more invisible, more doors that don't open, and no one to talk to about it. If you want the next breakdown, subscribe, because the future won't be ruled by one dictator. It will be ruled by a million automated decisions and a system that never has to explain itself.